Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome back to our training program. And this program, this third discussion focuses on characteristics of positive school culture. In the previous two discussions, first we look at the objectives of this course. Then in the second discussion, we look at the introduction, the definition of the concept school culture. And in that previous discussion, my focus is on I will try to relate the school system to the general community, that is the social culture, and how the school system, what makes the culture unique. And at the end, I try to differentiate between positive school culture and a negative school culture. I hope everybody is going through the lesson and you are getting something from it, or you are following it, understanding the discussion. Now, our discussion for today. And as I said, this is DPSC102. That is the third training we are having. And this one is about characteristics of positive school culture. In the previous discussion, I already identified whether the culture is positive or is negative. And if you want to see a school system, you want to know whether the culture is positive or negative. Broadly, we can say that positive school culture are conducive for professional satisfaction. It model a good role model. Teachers within the school system are good role models to the pupils and students, and everything is organized for effective teaching and learning in the classroom, as well as making sure that the children, the pupils and students follow some values in order to fulfill their aspirations. And in fulfilling these aspirations, the school makes sure that everything they do, the outcome on the school is positive. It is more focused, a positive school culture is more focused on outcomes rather than regulations or rules. There are rules there, but everybody is guided consciously to focus on whatever the result will be, how to help the pupils and students come out successfully and have their academic achievements. Now, so if you are looking at a positive school culture, what are the characteristics? What are the things that you can identify to know that indeed there is positive school culture in this school? I'm going to have about 12 points discussion. I will be detailed on at least 10 of them and also mention the rest too. And as I already stated, the materials, we are going to work with the material and the video. If you listen to the video, you have to go and read further the materials which will be available and linked to all our learning platforms for our learners to follow. Now, first of all, if you want to identify the characteristics of a positive school culture, in a positive school culture, the individual success of teachers and students are recognized and celebrated. In a positive school culture, the individual successes of both teachers and students are recognized and celebrated. In a positive school cultural system, everybody is looked at as contributor to the system. And when you do something which is an achievement, you are identified and you are celebrated. That is one. So there is more of celebration of achievement of both students and staff. Everybody is recognized within the system, and that with that recognition, it doesn't matter your level or wherever you are coming from, you are celebrated for your achievements. That is first. Second one is that relationships and interactions are characterized by openness. In a positive school culture, there is no faction within the system. Everybody is allowed to speak their mind, and in speaking their mind, their whole focus is on the goal set of the school system. So relationships, interactions, they are open. There is no backbiting, secrecy, or fashion within a positive school cultural system. Not only that, there is much trust within a positive school culture. The school staff, the staff trust management. The staff know that whatever is promised by management, they will fulfill. And teachers work to their maximum they work with their best self to be able to achieve the result or the goal set. So there is trust. Everybody within a positive school cultural system in this same point is respected for who they are. They don't look at either where you are coming from, like in a cosmopolitan area, like in a city, for example. You are working within a positive school cultural system. You are respected for who you are. You are not respected because you are related to the school owner in a private school system, or because you have tribal lineage with somebody. No. Everybody is given their due respect and recognized for their level of excellence or whatever their achievement is. And I said already, no discrimination. And within that context, there's much appreciation of everybody. When you try and when you achieve something, everybody appreciates you for what you have achieved. And that within a positive cultural system, with this point of relationship and relationship and interaction, there is everybody trying to follow the rules of engagement of the school, of the institution. In other words, code of conduct is not look at a rule so stringent to command people, but people are flexible and they go by the rules and regulations of the school. There's life and liveliness within the school system, and when you go into the system, you are not looked at as a stranger. You are being embraced to focus on the school vision and mission. So the second point I'm trying to emphasize is that relationships and interactions within a positive school cultural system is characterized by openness, trust, respect, appreciation of everybody for whatever they do. That is my second point. When you go to a positive school cultural system and you see how things go, you realize that everybody, their mind is not on themselves. They are not doing anything to please anybody, but they are all working lively and are focusing on the dream of the school and the aspirations of the general good of the pupils and students. The next one is that staff relationships are mutual. There is mutual relationship within a positive school cultural system. Mutual. Everything is mutual. There is collaboration, support for each other. When I talk about collaboration, it means, for example, if I talk about in a school system, what we know is that there must be teachers who are weekly teachers who are in charge of a week to manage it, and they give a report of whatever they manage. Now, in a positive school culture, what happens is that those teachers who are in charge of the week are just like figureheads. Everybody supports them, and they try as much as possible to collaborate with them to manage. For example, there are teachers in charge of all the classes when we go to the secondary school. In the primary section, what happens? There are class teachers. All of them manage them in a way that they collaborate to make sure everything moves on. You don't see teachers who come to school because they are not a weekly teacher. They just go into their classroom and do whatever they want to do. They also organize their pupils from their level, or their students from their level or their classroom level, and make sure they all collaborate. So there is collaboration in a positive school culture. Not only that, if there is collaboration, there will be productivity. So in a positive school culture, there is productivity. Productivity in the sense that pupils and students are supported to come out excellent. The weaker ones within the school system, they are identified and supported within a positive school culture, and that all staff members are held to high professional and ethical standards. In a positive school culture, you will not see the school managers abusing teachers, and you will not see teachers abusing pupils and students. Whatever the instruction is, they try as much as possible to follow it. That is a positive school culture. So in a positive school cultural system, there is collaboration. In fact, one of the schools I worked with, in the initial stage, there was so much collaboration and everybody was trying hard to support. However, there was a time that things were not as they were supposed to be. So if there's collaboration, everybody wants to support the system to work, then we say that system has a positive school culture. Another point is that in a positive school cultural system, students and staff members feel emotionally and physically safe. There is no issue of worry of teachers. Teachers, they are focused on their professional work because the system is so much flexible and conducive for their work. The pupils and students, they are happy to go to school because there is no problem in the classroom. The children will not fear that when I go to this class, my teacher is a problem. No. So in a positive school culture, staffs and students feel emotionally safe. The children are free to interact with everybody. The children will not see somebody and say, oh, no, this person is from my tribe. Because of that, I'm going to be close to the person. Or this person is from my church. Or this person is a Christian, or this one is a Muslim. Because of that, no. Because the system is structured in a way that there is no discrimination, as I said earlier, every child in the system feels safe. They are not worried about anything because the system gives them the right support. So the pupils and students, the staff, they are safe, they are emotionally safe, and the school policies are followed. Not only that, the school facilities promote student safety, including the physical challenged ones. Now, like I said in the previous discussion, in a positive school culture, children who have weaknesses are identified and supported. And even when the person is physically challenged, the system makes sure that the managers of the school system, whether public or private, make sure that they support that physically challenged child to be able to achieve their aspiration in the school. That if the school system is positive, they don't discriminate against the physically challenged, whether they have hearing impairment or they have any physical challenge. No, they are all supported. So the school system is structured in a school culture where the system is positive. You will see that every child is supported. Not only the bright ones are focused on. You see that in some schools, the bright ones are focused on, they are celebrated. But as I said earlier, everybody is celebrated in a positive school cultural system. So the progression of everybody is supported. So they are emotionally safe. They are safe. They are determined to do better when they improve on themselves. I hope everybody is following this discussion, because it's very important for effective school management if you have a positive school culture. The next point for discussion is that school management in the context of private schools, for example, school owners, teachers, and other staff members model positive character. They model positive character. In other words, in a positive school culture, the elderly ones, the staff, both teachers and non-teaching staff, they are role model to the pupils and students. The children will want to be like their teachers, because the teachers or the staff don't only instruct the pupils and students to follow. They don't just give them instruction. They model what they are telling the children to do. The teacher will not dress anyhow to school and command the children to dress neatly. The staff will dress in a special way. They are moderate in their dressing, and when you see them, the pupils will want to be like their teachers in a positive school culture. So, like, if they pay the children, their parents cannot be their role model, the teachers in the school become the role models, or the management become the role models of the pupils and students. In that context, we will have to take note that when in a school it is positive culture, there is healthy relationship. Not only that, the health concerns of all the pupils and students are taken care of. This is very important. The teachers are role models. The health and everything, every challenge of the pupils which will affect their teaching and learning, they are taken care of in a positive school culture. But if what we will be discussing about, the toxic one, will come later. Now, apart from that, in a positive school culture, mistakes are not punished as failures. Mistakes are corrected, and the children are guided to improve. What we have to understand about positive school culture is that everybody is focusing on the goals and aspirations of the pupils and students, and the pupils are being encouraged to focus on that. When the child does not do well, teachers try to find solution to their problem. Why is this child not doing well? That is in a positive school culture. And that when a child failed, even though the child you need to let the child know that this is why you fail, and that don't worry, you'll be able to go through. Then in that context, what happens in a positive school culture? The workers or the teachers try to find solutions to the problems of the pupils and students. Solution is not about reprimanding the child, or let's say using trying to punish the child, no. Everything that is done as punishment is seen as corrective measure to correct the challenges or the problems of the child to do better. When a child is punished within a positive school culture, the child is being, you have to let the child know that this is the reason why you are punished for what you have done. So in a positive school culture, mistakes are not seen as failures, but they are seen as opportunities to learn and grow for both students and the educators or the educational workers. In a positive school culture, you don't see anybody as a failure. You don't go telling children that you are useless, you are that and that. No, you always try to find out the reason why the child did not do well. You find out about why the child did not come to school early. I can give an example of this. I was, as a consultant, was working in one of the schools, and in one particular school, in one particular class, I realized that there's this child who comes to school every day late. And I tried to find out the reason why the child always comes to school late. And I realized that the one who is the caretaker or the guardian of the child is the one who delays the child. That is why the child doesn't come to school early. And what are the corrective measures we have to do to make sure that child comes to school early? In another class, one thing I've realized is like the teacher is trying every way but did not know how to do. But what I identify is that the child was taken from a village to that school, and the level of the child is low. That is why the child is not doing well. However, there's this teacher who always shouts on the child and do no. So, but in a positive school culture, like I'm trying to emphasize, what are the things that are making the child seems to fail? You identify that and see how to correct it. that is in a positive school culture. Now, the next discussion of the point is that in a positive school culture, students are consistently held to high academic expectations. In a positive school culture, the children are held to high academic expectation. How is it done? In a positive school culture, children who are doing very well are supported, encouraged to do well. Children who are not doing well, the teachers try to identify the child's problem. Is it a slow learning? And how to get the children to get into their level of capacity and to learn. Is it learning difficulty? What is it that is causing that learning difficulty? So all these things are done in a way to raise the standard of the child to the next level. When a child is seen as a weaker one, for example, they can be grouped. They are put into groups, and in their groups, they work to raise their standard to the next level. So in a positive school culture, you see that there are plans to help the weaker ones do better. And that majority of students they work to make sure they exceed that high standard. And that in a positive school culture also, there is more of competition amongst the pupils and students to do better, because that expectation is there, motivation is added, and that the children work towards it. The same thing applies to the teachers also. There's high expectation for the students, high expectation for the teachers or the educational workers or the staff also within that system. Now, the next one I will look at before I will mention the other ones is that in a positive school culture, important leadership decisions are taken not only by school management. There are consultations within the system in order to help fine-tune the decisions. So these decisions are open up the ideas of the school system or of teachers. The school management will want to get the view of the staff, both for teaching and non-teaching, to contribute to that decision. So the decisions are most of the time not an imposition, it is collaboration to get that decision, and as it is by consensus, everybody try to follow. So in a positive school culture, important leadership decisions are made collaboratively with input from all the staff. Not only that, sometimes when the decision is going to affect the pupils and students, the management also try to involve the school, the student leadership, especially when it is in a JSS or SS. School leadership, the students' leadership are involved in the decision making. For example, a school is going to have a graduation. The decision of whatever the children are going to wear is not only taken by management. Staff is consulted, and those pupils and students who are graduating too are involved in that decision. That is a positive school culture. So in a positive school culture, I will say that there is more of democracy within a positive school culture, because everybody is allowed to express his or her view. That is a positive school culture. Apart from that, before I end this discussion, in a positive school culture, criticisms, when voiced out, are not just to condemn the system, but they are constructive. And what is constructive criticism? Is about talking about the positives, what is helping the system progress, and what is not helping the system. That is a positive school culture. So criticisms are constructive within a positive school culture. It is not about condemnation. Everything that is done within the system, within a positive school culture, is all first focusing on the goals or the vision and mission of the school, and also to help the pupils and students achieve their academic goals and aspirations. So criticisms are more of evaluative in a positive school culture. I hope this discussion, when you look at, when you view this or you listen to this discussion, you can reflect on whether once when you were a student, how the system worked, whether it was positive. You can look at these positive things that I'm talking about, a positive school cultural system. Now, in a positive school culture, all students have access to academic support. All students have access to academic support, both from their teachers and from management. And that the children, whenever they need something, a help from a teacher, they can all get it without discrimination. So in a positive school culture, all students have access to academic support and assistance they may need to succeed with their academic goals without discrimination. That is very important. Finally, in a positive school culture, the focus of the school or the school system is to help the pupils and students discover their full potential and achieve their academic and career goals and become their best self. Yes, in a positive school cultural system. And everybody within a positive school culture, as I said in all the discussion, the end goal of the school is to bring out the best in the pupils and students. I hope everybody who listen and follow this discussion will agree that there should be a positive school culture in every school, and that in every school there should be collaboration, there should be support for everybody, there should be trust, there should not be any division or faction within the school system, and all the pupils should be supported without discrimination. If this is done, then we say that school has a positive school culture. However, if these characteristics are not in the school, what will happen is that some of the pupils and students will be lacking behind, will be discriminated against, and other view. Now, so that is the next discussion we are going to look at. And our next discussion is going to look at characteristics of a negative school culture. Characteristics of negative school culture. We have seen the positive. Now we will have to focus on what the negatives are. I hope you continue to follow, take your time, listen to the discussion, and also when you have access to the script, the manual, the course manual, you read and listen or view the discussion, and I know you will follow and you will gain a lot from this discussion. There is a need for every school system to work, and for the system to work, we must all work towards it. And there are characteristics that we need to identify within the system. I hope you continue, because if you see the positive, you need to look at the negative also and see how the negatives work against the positive. Thank you for following. The next video will talk about the characteristics of negative school culture. Thank you.